Today I want to get into 7 being protested to be removed from iTunes and what happened there. I want to get into Jung Kook getting mass hate over people saying he likes to sing about sex, and then I want to get into Rain getting booed at a show. So hey Dumplings, is Dave decide hater or not. Make sure you're subscribed with the notification bell on. Web Dumpling, Tastefully mug merch, and let's go. We need to talk about Rain. So there's been a lot of controversy surrounding one of the kings of K-pop. Rain has been around for a long time and he is known to be one of the OG, and he is just very good at what he does. Just like a lot of K-pop idols in the past and a lot of celebrities in general, they tend to step down from the limelight a little bit as they get older and choose to do something else. They take their millions that they hopefully accrued during a peak of fame and they open a business. And I say peak of fame because people think once they're out of the limelight, they're no longer successful. But a lot of celebrities and idols only ever really start making huge money after they step away. Take Rihanna and her makeup line. Bang PD was also a celebrity and an idol at one point. He made his billions from taking that money and opening a label. Rain opened his own management and debuted a group. The group was named Cypher, and there was a lot of drama with this group from the beginning. The group debuted in 2021, and so obviously they never really got into a scandal themselves. They were barely active enough to even do anything. But it was heavily believed that Rain and the management failed to provide for the group and do proper promotion. People were mass emailing Rain and protesting outside the company because people were really excited to see the potential of Cypher. The group is very good. People were very upset at how the potential for this group was being allegedly wasted. It was then announced that Rain will be performing at Kcon LA. This angered the fans the most because they felt Rain prioritized his own career over the dreams of this new group, which ultimately led to some members wanting to leave due to not being able to do much, or at least this is alleged. Of course, this looks really bad. Now, I've said this many times, we have no idea what goes on behind the scenes, and the idea that a CEO who was active as a K-pop idol but not so much anymore took the opportunities for himself looks very believable. People were saying the opportunity to perform should have gone to Cypher and not to Rain, and we don't know what happened. It's easy to sit here and believe that Kcon reached out to Cypher to perform, but then Rain interjected and said he would rather do it, rather than saying that maybe Kcon actually never asked Cypher to perform at all. When a group is newer, it's pretty normal for them not to be asked to perform at bigger venues, especially if the label is smaller. You'll see even from BTS's beginning, BTS never got a lot of opportunities at big stages because their label didn't have the connection. And when the higher-ups for these venues get a submission from 2 labels, one artist is from SM, let's say, versus one from a smaller label, the venue is probably going to pick the artist from SM. Who is to even say that when Kcon reached out, they ultimately realized that they would rather have Rain perform than a newer group? We have no idea. But what happened at Kcon that was so shocking? There is this term that people have in K-pop, which is a black ocean. So the reason K-pop idols have light sticks is so when you look out into the crowd, you see a bunch of beautiful lights. It's like an ocean trying to guide the artist home, but it's supposed to represent success and love from the fans. So everyone was saying that when Rain performs at Kcon to shut off the light stick, so he gets a black ocean in protest for Cypher. Now the group is smaller, so I do doubt that everyone who was protesting did it because they love the group, but more so because they maybe just believed what Rain did wasn't right. So then it became headlines to ask if this actually happened to Rain. So if you look at the pictures side by side of Rain's performance and what the crowd looked like versus other artists, it does appear slightly darker, but not too much, as it appeared most people there probably didn't know of the drama unless they were online 24/7. And then there was also video footage allegedly of Rain being booed after his performance. And this could have been edited, I don't know. But this is very interesting to see sort of the ramifications of something that happened online into real life, because we don't usually see it. Things never really go beyond the internet, and usually someone who gets a lot of hate online won't usually get hate in person. So I think a lot of people were wondering if this was something that actually transferred over. But unfortunately, I wasn't there, so I can't tell you. There's a lot of moments that exist in K-pop where the hate really doesn't transfer over. For example, there's a lot of hate online to Bang PD and HYBE. However, every time Bang PD speaks or goes in public, it's not like he's booed or things are being thrown at him. There's recently been a lot of drama due to the new remix that exists. And just a side note, in case you are wondering why every artist releases a remix after a hit song, it's because a remix helps the song stay on the charts and stay #1. Every time something gets re-released, it gets a small bump on the radio or viewership as people are trying to listen to it or get re-hyped by it. It also brings viewers to listen to the original again, bringing not only the remix but the original up on the charts again. 7 was remixed by Alesso, who is a famous producer, and it was posted right onto iTunes. Fans immediately started to tweet Hybe and the American label to ask them to remove the cover art for the song. So if you haven't seen it, the cover art for this remix is this pink color, and it's just this reimagined image. Now, I don't know the story behind this image, but to ask labels to remove it can potentially be very disrespectful, because while it's a remix of Jung Kook's original song, the cover art could potentially be an original art that Alesso made to show his efforts on the remix. So if you take away that, then that's like saying I don't like Alesso's art, which is fine, but then don't listen to it, because then there's no point. So why were the fans saying to take the art down? Because as we can see, it's not specifically very controversial. It's just the lyrics with some pink. Well, people were tweeting to say that the new cover art for the remix is very confusing and confusing fans. To which I'm like, confusing how? Because it's not like the original. It is its own song. So of course it would have to have an original cover art and one that differentiates itself from the original. So I'm unclear how that could be confusing. And what is interesting is the reaction, because while no one was seemingly rude to ask Hybe and the label to take down the cover art, they are demanding that it be removed by sending literally thousands of messages to them. And so instead of sitting there trying to respect the art that another artist may have put into the song and just trying to trend and ask people to not get confused, it's now trying to remove this piece of art. It would literally be easier to tell people to get common sense and ask people to read the title of the song before downloading it, because I don't think most people can just get on iTunes. And it'll usually show the label that the song is associated with. So there's still many signs that show that the remix would be official outside of the cover art. And just because the cover art is changed doesn't mean that a scammer can't go in and also use the original cover art to scam people. So I just don't know what the thought process is here. Aside from people very quickly jumping on a trend and trying to spam Hybe, this has been mixed in with people disliking the song in general, and there's a lot of opinions. A lot of it has to do with people not liking that Jung Kook is singing about sex, and others say since Jung Kook likes to sing about sex, I don't know where that comes from. It's just not in reality. Just because you listen to the song over and over and hear it a lot does not mean that Jung Kook has sung about it that many times, and or is even thinking about it. It just means he made one song right now about a more risque topic that is not even that risque. And since it was so shocking to the fans, people are saying things since Jung Kook loves to have sex, and it's like, no, that's not the point of the song. And that's also probably not the only reason he chose to do the song. He probably chose it because he knew that the song would gain a lot of traction in the US, and Jung Kook's voice was just made for pop. It would be a waste if he didn't create music that would grow to a more international, global success like 7 is currently doing. To also say that Jung Kook loves talking about sex would also be saying that he has at least a few other songs that have been about this topic, but he literally has not sung about sex or dating up until this. Euphoria or My Time was not about this. Euphoria was kind of about suicide, and then My Time was just his experience as a trainee and his innermost thoughts. This is the first time he has tried a topic that is more topical and fun, and to now label him as things like a sex addict or whatever makes no sense. Also, Left and Right was about dating, but it wasn't his song, so I don't know if that counts. So this is also why I always say we don't know the idols like we think we do, because there's so many things that go into play with an idol that distorts who they are in our mind. First off, when they do something, it's completely up for interpretation rather than just being able to ask them and get a feel for their personality that way. We are then incorporating our own personality and experiences into interpreting his experience, which would make his experience or story inaccurate to what he may actually mean. Let me know what you think. Make sure you check out my Patreon for more videos. Link down below. Thanks for a little bit comment right here. Love you. Bye.